In the dense, lush forests of Brazil, nestled between towering trees and thick underbrush, lies the forgotten village of Triunfo. Once a thriving settlement, it now stands as a ghostly remnant of its former glory, shrouded in mystery and whispers of a terrible curse. For decades, the village has been abandoned, its dark history buried under layers of foliage and silence. It was this eerie and isolated location that attracted director Lucas Almeida, who was looking for the perfect setting to shoot his upcoming romantic drama, Triunfo do Amor. The film, based on a true story of love overcoming all obstacles, was expected to be a hit, and the authenticity of the location would add a touch of realism that no set could replicate. However, what Lucas and his crew were unaware of was the village's sinister past and the ancient curse that lingered, waiting for unsuspecting victims. The cast and crew arrived on a hot and humid afternoon, the air thick with the scent of earth and decay. As they set up their equipment and prepared for the first day of shooting, an uneasy feeling settled over them. The village, though picturesque, had an unsettling atmosphere. The old, crumbling houses seemed to watch them with hollow eyes, and the silence was almost oppressive. Among the crew was Isabella Santos, a rising star chosen to play the lead role. Isabella was thrilled about the opportunity, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The villagers they had hired as extras were strangely silent, their eyes darting nervously around the set. When asked about the history of Triunfo, they would mutter vague warnings about the curse and quickly change the subject. Despite the oddities, the filming proceeded. The scenes were beautifully shot, capturing the raw emotion and dramatic tension of the script. However, as the days went by, strange occurrences began to plague the production. Equipment malfunctioned inexplicably, props disappeared, and eerie sounds echoed through the night. The crew dismissed these incidents as coincidences or pranks, but Isabella knew better. She could feel an unseen presence, a malevolent force watching their every move. One night, as Isabella was rehearsing her lines in her makeshift trailer, she heard a soft whisper. At first, she thought it was her imagination, but the whisper grew louder, forming words in an old, forgotten dialect. Chills ran down her spine as she realized it was not human. The voice spoke of a great betrayal, of love turned to hate, and of a curse that doomed all who set foot in the village. Terrified, Isabella ran to Lucas and told him what she had heard. Lucas, a rational man, tried to reassure her that it was just the stress of the shoot getting to her. But as she spoke, a sudden gust of wind blew through the camp, extinguishing their lights and plunging them into darkness. In the pitch black, the whispering returned, louder and more insistent, as if the curse itself was trying to communicate. The crew huddled together, fear etched on their faces. As the wind died down and the lights flickered back on, they saw something that made their blood run cold. Carved into the wooden door of one of the old houses was a single word, amaldicoado, cursed. The next morning, they found one of the local extras dead, his body twisted in an unnatural position. Panic spread through the crew like wildfire. Some wanted to leave immediately, but Lucas, driven by his ambition and desperation to finish the film, convinced them to stay. He assured them it was an accident, a tragic coincidence, but deep down, he knew they were in grave danger. Isabella couldn't shake the feeling of dread. She began researching the village's history, uncovering a tale of love and betrayal that mirrored the plot of their film. Centuries ago, the village had been the site of a passionate romance between a young woman named Maria and a man named Antonio. Their love was forbidden, and when their affair was discovered, Antonio was executed, and Maria was cursed by a vengeful spirit. The curse declared that any attempt to tell their story would awaken the spirit, bringing death and destruction. As Isabella delved deeper, she found an old journal belonging to Maria, hidden beneath the floorboards of one of the houses. The journal detailed the curse and how to break it by performing a ritual at the site of Antonio's execution. Desperate to save the crew, Isabella persuaded Lucas to help her perform the ritual. On the night of the ritual, they gathered in the village square, the atmosphere thick with tension and fear. They followed the instructions meticulously, chanting the ancient words and making offerings to the spirit. As they completed the ritual, a sudden, violent tremor shook the ground. The air grew cold, and a ghostly figure appeared before them, Maria. Her face was a mask of sorrow and rage, her eyes burning with an otherworldly fire. She spoke in a voice that echoed with centuries of pain, accusing them of disturbing her rest. Isabella, trembling, pleaded with Maria to lift the curse. She promised to tell their story with the respect and love it deserved, to honor their memory rather than exploit it. For a moment, it seemed as though Maria would relent. Her expression softened, and the cold wind began to die down. But then, one of the crew members, driven mad by fear, attacked Maria's apparition with a makeshift weapon. The spirit screamed in fury, and the ground split open, swallowing the man whole. The remaining crew watched in horror as the village began to crumble around them. Buildings collapsed, and the earth shook violently. In a desperate bid to survive, Lucas and Isabella grabbed the journal and ran towards the forest. Behind them, the village was consumed by the earth, vanishing into the darkness. Exhausted and terrified, they collapsed at the edge of the forest. The curse had been reawakened, and the price had been paid. Isabella knew that their only hope was to leave Triunfo behind and never return. As they made their way back to civilization, they vowed to honor the story of Maria and Antonio, to tell it with the love and respect it deserved, and to warn others of the dangers that lay hidden in the heart of the forest. Years later, Triunfo de Amor became a critically acclaimed film, praised for its haunting beauty and emotional depth. But those who knew the true story understood that it was more than just a film, it was a testament to the power of love, and a reminder of the darkness that lies beneath the surface of forgotten places.